A total of 120 graduates have been awarded with various degrees at the maiden convocation ceremony of the Mountain Top University in Ogun State. The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who delivered the convocation lecture, challenged the graduates to keep an open mind to explore various career options. 22 out of the 120 graduates bagged first-class degrees.
Dignitaries, management, staff, family and friends gather to witness the conferment of various degrees to graduates at the maiden convocation ceremony of the Mountain Top University in Ogun State. The guest lecturer, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, takes on the graduates on the future of work and the need for them to be competitive globally.
As young Nigerians in the job market of the 21st century, your competition is not only fellow young Nigerians living in Nigeria, but young people from anywhere around the world.
The Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Elijah Ayolabi, recounts how it all began in 2015.
By the grace of God, in March 2015, the Federal Executive Council granted approval to establish Mountain Top University. And on the 21st of December 2015, the university had a grand opening and the first matriculation ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
On his part, the Chancellor of the university, Dr. Daniel Olukoya, urged the students to be good ambassadors of the institution wherever they find themselves.
And I congratulate all those who are graduating today too, and thank you for being the firstborn of this university. A university that empowers you to excel. So as you leave this institution, I want you to be a man or woman of vision.
One after the other, the 120 graduates step up to the podium for a handshake with the Chancellor and his wife. Speaking on behalf of his colleagues, the best graduating student, Babalola Ayodipupo, appreciates the university authorities and promises to be good ambassadors of the institution.
Mountain Top University has equipped so many of us with good and incorruptible leadership skills. We are certain that this legacy will not fade out.
And the institution's choir group thrilled the audience. With a record of being one of Nigeria's leading institutions of higher learning, the school can only look forward to churning out more quality graduates in the coming years.
Eager young minds of tomorrow. The repatriation of looted Benin artifacts remains a major talking point at various fora. The latest is a bronze cockerel displayed at Jesus College, University of Cambridge in the UK. The Okoko, described by the college as a royal ancestral heirloom, will be the first to be returned to Nigeria by a major British institution since the punitive expedition in 1897, when thousands of bronzes were stolen from Benin City by British forces.
Of what relevance is an ancient work of art to a people?
Artwork or art pieces generally are couriers of a people's essence. So you can discern the identity, their peculiarities through their artwork.
Sources close to the Benin Palace say that over 3,000 works of art were stolen by the British invaders in 1897. Many of them scattered in various museums in Europe, while about 700 are still in the UK. One of them is a bronze cockerel formerly on display at the Jesus College, University of Cambridge. Prince Edun Akenzo, a great-grandson of Oba of Voram of Benin, who was the king in 1897 during the British raid, is excited about the imminent return of the cockerel.
When I first heard about that, I didn't participate in the students' action. But when I heard about what they did, I sent them a letter congratulating them and pleading with them and all other white people, wherever they may be, who still keep in their possession these Benin bronzes and ivories, because these are Benin cultural property. So I was quite elated, I felt quite happy.
The curator of this museum has helped us to understand some factors surrounding the bronze cockerel.
2017, a meeting held where discussions were rife about possibility. There was no concrete promise though, that you know what, as soon as you leave here, national NCMM officials, the next flight, the cockerel will come. No, nobody said that. But we knew that they were willing to let go as curators by way of this loan, by way of this exhibition. So we're very hopeful that sooner than later, the audience will come through that route.
What is clear is that the bronze cockerel and other looted Benin artifacts may find their way here as the agitation continues. But when and how, the answer is still a subject of debate. Osaze Obaze Channels Television News.
To some company news now. The management of African Alliance Insurance PLC has assured its shareholders and the investing public that the company's future is bright, as measures have been put in place to ensure that it remains a leader in the insurance industry. The chairman board of directors of the company, Mr. Anthony Okocha, gave the assurance while speaking to journalists on the sidelines of the 50th annual general meeting of African Alliance Insurance PLC in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital.
It's the 50th annual general meeting of the African Alliance Insurance PLC, formerly known as African Alliance Insurance Limited. The meeting is aimed at reviewing the successes and challenges of the company with a view to charting a way forward for the benefit of its shareholders.
It's been quite difficult, but the company was able to navigate these difficult periods, albeit with its own problems. So we are very mindful of the fact that we didn't optimize values that we would have optimized. And that's what they're trying to achieve in the coming years ahead.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Fumilayo Omo discloses the company's plan to remain top in the insurance industry.
We have plans to ensure that the company remains sustainable and that the company's culture is preserved and that the entity itself is preserved. And our shareholders have conviction in the board and the management of the organization to implement the strategic decisions and plans that we have. And we're certain that will help towards recapitalization to ensure that the legacies of the company is preserved.
The meeting also features the ratification of the appointment of two new non-executive directors of the company, Silva Ogwemo and Alhaji Ahmed Nahuchi. Sasoni Wosu, the leader of the shareholders, speaks on the outcome of the meeting.
The impression of today's meeting is that it has given us hope to invest in the recapitalization of AA. We have heard about the hidden assets and the good thing about AA. And that's what shareholders will always want to hear of, so as to make up their mind whether to invest there or not.
African Alliance Insurance PLC say they drive innovation in the 21st century and that it is positioned to offer premium value to its shareholders.
You're watching the news at 10. Let's now join Teniola Shobowale for more business reports.
Ben's Gimba, welcome to Business News. The Sierra Leonean government has announced plans to kickstart a currency swap deal with Nigeria. The initiative, according to the Sierra Leonean Minister of Finance, Mr. Jacob Safa, is targeted at boosting trade relations between Nigeria and Sierra Leone. At a meeting in Abuja, Mr. Safa also expressed optimism that the proposed deal will open up new frontiers of economic partnership between both countries, which is expected to create jobs and income for its people. Now, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is admonishing companies and service providers against neglecting the complaints of their consumers. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the Director General of the Commission explains the need for service providers to ensure customers receive satisfaction from services they paid for.
When companies have to resolve the complaints themselves, they deploy more resources to that work. They get a lot more feedback about what is going wrong. They carry the headache of open, unresolved complaints. That's what will make them even better. And that is what will make complaints truly reduce at a real dramatic and meaningful level. In 2020, we should focus on two things: robust enforcement, wider consumer education. If we can accomplish those two better than we have before, together we would have served this nation in ways that are even deserving of national honors. And you might ask, what is your approach to better enforcement? I've discussed one, which is holding companies accountable to how they even respond to consumers.
Now, it was a week of highly volatile trading at the Nigerian stock market as year-end activities ramped up. Positive sentiments trailed large-cap consumer goods and banking stocks, but sell-offs of index heavyweight MTN Nigeria capped gains, leading the index to close around the flat line at 26,526.35. On sectoral performances, the consumer goods, insurance and banking indices edged higher, driven by gains in Nigerian breweries, WAPIC Insurance and Stanbic IBTC. Meanwhile, sell-offs of Owando and WAPCO led to declines in the oil and gas and industrial goods indices. AG Leventis led this week's gainer with 28.21%, while 25 equities declined, led by Cornerstone Insurance. Total turnover came in at 1.38 billion shares, worth 15.5 billion naira, exchanged in 14,528 deals. Now, Royal Dutch Shell is expected to write down up to $2.3 billion in the fourth quarter of 2019 due to a weaker economic outlook. In a trading update ahead of full-year results, Shell expects to take post-tax impairment charges in a range between $1.7 billion and $2.3 billion for the quarter, based on the macro outlook. The Anglo-Dutch company also sees weaker margins in its refining, trading and marketing division, while maintaining spending on the lower end of the forecast amid slowing demand for oil and gas. Shell warned in October that trade tensions between the United States and China, the world's two largest energy consumers, could hurt demand and take a toll on its performance. Meanwhile, crude oil prices ended the week lower, but still managed to post its third straight week of gains amid the easing of U.S.-Chinese trade tensions. Brent fell 0.7 to $66.06 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures lost 1.2% to settle at $60.44 per barrel. Progress in the trade disputes between the world's two biggest oil consumers has raised expectations of higher energy demand next year. China on Thursday announced a list of import tariff exemptions for 6 oil and chemical products from the United States, days after Washington and Beijing said an interim trade deal is set to be signed in January. Advancement of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which is set to replace the North American Free Trade Agreement, also boosted oil this week. And that's business news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shoboale. Back to you, Gimba.
Brilliant, many thanks indeed. Still ahead on the news at 10, world number 1 Rafael Nadal beats Stefano Tsitsipas 6-7, 7-5, 7-6 to win the Mubadala World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi. That's the sports news. Stay with us.